Possibly, we get the result of their deliberations today. Let's bring in Ilaria Di Gioia, who's a law professor at Birmingham City University and can help us understand what's at stake here. Ilaria, very good to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. So the expectation seems to be, not from everybody, that we get some sort of decision today. That's not certain, but that is an expectation. And that the tariffs are struck down. And we're talking about IEEPA and fentanyl tariffs here. But what is the nuance that we need to be aware of, Ilaria, in terms of what could go around that decision? Because it might not be backward-looking, it might not include what happens next, there might be abstentions. Tell us about some of the nuance to watch for.
Yes, of course. First of all, let's start with what you said. It is just possible that we will have a decision today. The reason why we think that we may have a decision is because the Supreme Court did what we call an expedited process. So we expect that the expedited process will end today and we will have a decision. Now, the decision is expected, at least from my point of view, to be a narrow statutory ruling. What does this mean? Sometimes the Supreme Court can decide on big constitutional issues and give broader decisions that affect also future interpretations of the Constitution. Sometimes it gives very narrow decisions that affect only a particular case or a particular statute. Now, because this is an expedited decision, meaning justices didn't have much time to make a decision, this may be the case. What does it mean then? It means that they may strike down tariffs on the basis that the statute doesn't cover the power of the president to issue tariffs, but also we need to look at the nuances, as you said, at the different options. One of the options is that they would avoid all the problems related to the reimbursement of these tariffs to companies and this big mess, as the justices defined it during the ruling, and they can decide that the decisions only applies from this day onwards, so it doesn't affect refunds. Of course, you understand that this will create a lot of legal challenges. On the other hand, if they strike down tariffs fully, then that creates legal challenges from the administration point of view. So whatever happens, it will not be the end. It will lead to many, many other legal battles.
It will not be the end, Ilaria, yes. And so we could see the Trump administration responding. Well, they will no doubt respond to whatever the decision is here. And if the tariffs are struck down, making efforts to try and replace those tariffs with Section 301, Section 232 tariffs instead. How long would the process be to try and get us to that point? What's the window of uncertainty?
Well, there is a reason why President Trump didn't use those provisions before, and that is because they are lengthy process. They are process that require authorizations from various other administration authorities. So it will take a good possibly half a year or a year to get to that point. It will take time. It can also happen that Trump convinces Congress to pass laws that back the authority, the tariff imposing authority for president. It can be that Congress passes tariffs themselves. But again, this takes a long time. There is a reason, as I said, why Trump didn't use those powers before. So lots to be watched. Lots of problematic legal issue coming if the tariffs are struck down.
Ilaria, what do you think I'm going to have? Do you think I'm going to be more confused or less confused by the end of the day if we get the ruling?
The answer is that probably we will be more confused, and not only we will be more confused, the administration will be confused. Of course, they put forward mechanisms already for reimbursement. For example, the administration has already created an online platform for companies to get tax reimbursement, and that asked companies to log in on the portal to sign up by the 6th of February in order to get up to speed with the online process. So the administration is preparing somehow to handle the situation. But of course, it's a big amount of money. We're talking about hundreds of billions dollars and lots of companies. So it will be very confusing for everyone.
If I'm in Brussels, London, Beijing, what do you think this is going to mean for me?
From a European point of view, of course, this means European companies lost in translation in what they have to do. Do they have to apply for refunds on the US website? How does this work for the European companies? This is still, we just don't know. We just have to wait and see what instructions will be laid for us.
OK, so that's how some of the different jurisdictions might be thinking about it, Ilaria. What about the companies? There's, I think, more than 1,000 companies signed up on the other side of this legal case versus the Trump administration. Just to be clear, you don't think they're going to be getting refunds anytime soon, or is there now a platform in place to issue refunds to those companies dependent on the ruling?
The online platform is for tax refunds. OK, has not been created on purpose for this particular refund. It's a general reform of the administration getting ready to refund taxes. But it may be one of the tools used to issue these particular refunds.
OK. And on the sectoral tariffs and on the reciprocal tariffs, those are not being included in this Supreme Court case. Are those clear and they are undisputed at this point in terms of the levers that this Trump administration can continue to pull?
Yes, because those sectoral tariffs, like tariffs on steel, for example, are covered by a different statutory authorities. They're not within the IEEPA, so those will still stay, and those are actually very much easier to implement than the type of individual tariffs implemented under IEEPA.
OK, Ilaria, thank you very much. Really important context as we lead up potentially to that decision later today from the Supreme Court. Ilaria Di Gioia, law professor at Birmingham City University.